What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast. But today we got Battle Birds podcast together for what we're calling it. I don't know about everybody, but I'm calling a must-win game to really get this season in the right way. A lot of up and downs through the first 6 weeks. You took away some good stuff from some of the young core. You took away some bad stuff. Cough, cough. Nick Sirianni's not running the ball yet. With that being said, can we get it done? I believe it's a winnable game, but let's hear from the other members of BBP. Go ahead.
What's good, everybody? Steve, Bay City Sports Channel. As Mike said, this is an important game. I don't know if I call it a must-win. It's probably a must-win for the direction of the season, but in terms of the total direction of the franchise, I don't know if I call it a must-win, but one of those, it's an important game because I think this is the game where the emphasis should have been gotten through to the coaching staff that we understand what you were trying to do. You should understand at this point that it's asking a young quarterback to do a little too much and that teams are keying in on it. And you got to adjust. You got to make adjustments. I think this is a big, important game to see. Can we make the adjustments? Because it feels like behind the scenes there could be something nefarious going on here with the run rate. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
You know that, man. You know who it is. You know what it is, man. Your boy Philly Fresh, a.k.a. the General. Listen, man, I agree with 110% of what Gate City said, and I agree with 90% of what Mike said, because I do think it is a must-win, but it's a different reason why I think it's a must-win. I think it's a must-win for Nick Sirianni. Because when you look at the situation, and it might not be the organization, I'm saying it's a must-win for this fan base to get on your team. And that means a whole lot when especially you're losing at home. You have not won a game at home yet. You're not running the ball enough. We already know that. That's a problem. So when you look at the whole situation of Nick Sirianni, it's not enough. And to me, I'm getting stubborn Chip Kelly vibes that you think that you're going to come into a situation and run this college scheme all the time, and that's just going to work. You cannot be one-dimensional, and that's what he has been since week 1. Well, really, since week 2. I think he ran the ball. I think Miles Sanders had 74 yards on the ground week 1. And he ran the ball enough. And
20, I think it was 24 total RB touches between Gainwell and Sanders on week 1. So that was decent.
And that's a recipe for a win, as you can see. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This is a very, very winnable game, especially if Waller doesn't play. That's going to be major because our linebackers cannot cover They can't cover an ant with a napkin. So when you look at that situation, that definitely will help. But Nick Sirianni definitely has to do more. He has to run the ball and stop with this scheme that you think you're going to reinvent the NFL, because it's not working. It's not happening. And like you said, Gates, and I said this last week, you're asking him to do too much. It's just too much for a young quarterback to have to sit there, have to choose whether he's going to hand the ball off. And he's not even at that point, he's not looking at the secondary. He's looking at the crashing, either if it's a linebacker or the defensive end. So then first he's looking for that. Then if he doesn't hand the ball off, which he seemed to not do a lot, obviously, then he has to look up at coverage. And by that time, it's pressure in his face, and he's getting up out of there. And I can't blame him for that, because you're asking him to do too much. 3, 5, 7 drop back steps. Let the kid throw the freaking football. Stop asking him to do too much. I had a conversation, shout out to LB. He was saying that he was basically saying that he's babying Jalen Hurts. I said he's asking him to do too much. You know what I mean? I don't think he's babying him. I'm thinking he's asking him to do way too much than he needs to do. Make the game simpler for him. Utilize the middle of the field, and we're going to get into all that. But that, man, what's going on?
I think it's both, actually, Fresh.
Yeah,
I actually think it's
both.
both.
The same thing.
I think it's both. I think he is babying him, and I think he's asking him to do too much at the same time, because if you look at the rate to which the ball's in Jalen Hurts' hands in terms of not designing true design running plays, it's a crazy percentage rate at this point, to where it's like nearly 80%, if not more, of our offense is completely flowing through Jalen Hurts. But at the same time, the reads and the progressions are very simple. You know, it's a matter of you're reading one player, then you're deciding, you know, and it's not every down, but on a certain percentage of downs, Jalen's only really being asked to read a single player, and then that determines your throw. But teams are just they're basically playing outside and daring us to throw across the middle. That's what's happening now.
Yeah, and I agree with Gate on a both, for the simple fact he's not letting him, he's babying him by not asking him to run a traditional NFL offense, but he's putting a lot on his plate just on the style of how we are playing. Again, Nick not calling a run play is the coach not calling a run play. That's 100%. But the RPO, which has a run play, run pass option, I believe every defense that plays us see how they can beat the Eagles, right? Make Jalen Hurts keep it. So they are doing whatever it takes with their defensive ends, making them crash to make Jalen Hurts see the read that's not there and take it, because they say if the ball's in Jalen Hurts' hands for the majority of the game, we have a better chance on keeping things in wraps, and we see how the Eagles go when we do that. So by not physically calling a run play, is you're not running the ball, and then Jalen's going to do what he sees, and the defense is playing us in a way that they're like, go ahead and keep it, Jalen, and we go about our business from there.
Did it bother you guys though? I heard this little snippet. I didn't hear the full press conference. So you guys in the chat, if you heard the full context of the press conference, fill me in. But I heard a snippet where Nick was talking to somebody, and I don't know if it was in a press conference or a radio show, but he basically said, like, look, you know, we feel our offensive linemen are doing well for what they're asked to do, but basically insinuated that part of the reason they're not running the ball in the traditional style offense, and mind you, you got Lane Johnson coming back this week, but he didn't feel like that they were ready for it. I'm like, that's kind of crazy, because, like, from my perception, it's always easier to teach run blocking than pass blocking, depending on the particulars of the scheme, I get. But for the most part, it's a lot easier to run block than it is to pass block. And I just that shocked me, is that, I mean, I will admit there were games like when we watched the San Francisco game, which was the only game on the year where we ran the ball more than we passed the ball. I did feel like we lost the line of scrimmage from, you know, the offensive line against the defensive line. But that, you know, not every team is San Francisco. Not every team is going to be able to throw that kind of D line and then have what's his name, Werner, the linebacker, who's just incredible sideline to sideline. I mean, that guy he's not Darius Leonard, but he's certainly better than what we got on staff. There's no doubt about it. Like, it feels like to me is like it's a weird nature of like you get beat down in the trenches by one team, so you abandon it for like 3 weeks. Like, man, not every team's going to be that good. And, like, especially with Dallas, I mean, I get that Nick tried to justify it by saying, like, he felt like they were going to have to score a lot of points. And then maybe he had the wrong approach, and maybe they should have played more ball control. But it's like, dude, like, you had them by like 40 pounds, 40 pounds on average. Get behind the blocks and run. Take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of things that came out telling in this press conferences or media to this whole week. I mean, he kind of pretty much said what we believe. Well, what some people believe. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts can't run this pro style offense, but he pretty much said that he doesn't want, like, he's doing it for Jalen Hurts, right? And at the end of the day, look, I said this, I think, in my last video and one of my last live streams. If this is the auditioning tape for Jalen Hurts, why would you only give him half the script, right? He can't get the job with half the script. Just say we were 4-2 and he was successful and executing these RPOs with the offense and we were looking good. Yeah. Is that what Nick Sirianni is going to be the rest of his career as the head coach if everything was going good? No. I believe Nick Sirianni wants to, I don't know what I believe, to be honest, but if you saying he can't run if he's auditioning to be the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, he has to be able to run everything. Sink or swim, you got to give him a traditional offensive set, because this ain't going to be the Nick Sirianni or the Eagles bread and butter forever. It's way too much RPO. So it's like, regardless, sink or swim. You want to put your players in the best situation by putting Jalen Hurts in the RPO situation, which people believe is his best situation. You're putting everybody else on this team not in their best situation, right? So you're going to cater to one guy or cater to the other 11. You got to make the right decision, and it got to be more eye-open. It can't be like, Jalen Hurts has some pretty good stats. The RPO is going to be here for only while Jalen Hurts is here. We just need to see what the Eagles' future looks like on offense, and it's not this. It's not this.
What's your perception, Reese, as a guy who's played running back before? Like, I hear it said a lot. You know, I played running back really early on, but never in like high school or anything. But I always heard that the saying was like you have to get a running back into a rhythm. And you know, when you did watch the film, there were moments where I felt like Miles Sanders' eyes, he followed the wrong block. He literally took the wrong block. I mean, is that part of repetition? And if you don't give a guy repetition, that's the result you get?
Yes, that definitely has a factor in that. And I was going to bring that up later, but let's talk about it now. The simple fact of the matter is, when he got the ball in the fourth quarter on Thursday, he completely ran right into the defensive lineman's arms, and he had a hole to the left. One simple cut, you get 15 yards. And I looked at that play, I broke it down so much. But that is reps. You have to have reps, especially at the running back position. Similar to the quarterback position. You got to have reps, you got to get into a rhythm. And it's also knowing your linemen in the midst of the game, knowing which way they're going to block, which guy they're supposed to pick up, and which guy you got to beat. You have one guy to really beat, and everybody else is blocking in those situations. It is one free guy because of the quarterback. The quarterback's not going to be blocking unless it's an outside run, and sometimes the quarterback blocks. But you have to try to beat that one guy. You cannot be a magnet to defensive linemen. But I can't blame it all on him because he's trying to do as much as he can with as little as he's getting. We can't forget this is Miles Sanders' contract year. And to me, it's not looking good for him, and it's not his fault when you look at the numbers. When you go on for negotiations and you're talking about trying to get paid, and then you look at the numbers from last year and this year, even though with all things considered of Doug Peterson not running the football enough last year that we all thought, the numbers weren't bad. I think he was 7.2, second or third in yards per carry. So that does mean something in negotiation. But then when you look at the numbers, you look at the touchdowns, you're like, well, what have you done for us? But then you got to look at the attempts. What opportunities have I gotten? Look at the offensive line last year. Now, the offensive line is definitely way better. Lane Johnson is coming back, and I think that's going to be so big for Mailata to go back to his original position. I'm going to say original position because it's really the only position he's supposed to play. But I get it. You put him on the right hand. He's your best tackle, hands down. So you put him on the right-hand side. And we've seen what happened to Dillard when he was on the right-hand side last year. Oh, my goodness. So I understand that. But if I'm Miles Sanders, and I made a video about this 2 days ago, I'm asking for a trade. I don't want Miles Sanders traded. I don't want nobody to say that. But if I'm Miles Sanders, I'm saying I'm going to the front office. Listen, if you don't run me more, or if like I can be a top 10 to 15 running back in the NFL. But if you don't utilize me more, now Nick Sirianni did say we utilize Miles Sanders more. But if you don't do something with me, I can't do anything. And it's not his fault. And I'm tired of Nick Sirianni hiding behind the fact of, oh, well, he kind of threw Jalen Hurts under the bus, but didn't. If you get what I'm saying when he said this, well, RPO is kind of me calling a running. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're giving a young quarterback the option, and now you're trying to throw it. Now you're trying to throw him under the bus, saying, "Well, when I say RPO, that could be a run." No, make it simple. Call run play. call pass plays. Go ahead, John.
No. Plus the defense is
you
playing
hit
into that
it. You hit it on the head. You hit it on the head, Reese. In college, he's right. In college, an RPO is a design run play to where if the numbers work your way, it's a pass.
Right.
But in the pros, the way most of these teams utilize RPOs is to try to get an extra defender in the box to beat you through the passing game. It's not it's vice versa. Like they flip it in the pros the way it's styled. And it is new in the pros because if you think about it, guys, and maybe I'm wrong, go check. If guys check and comment. But I think I'm right on this. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs last year was the first time where they clocked over 100 attempts on RPO passes. That doesn't mean RPO total plays because it's harder to track the runs. But it was the first time where they had a quarterback that actually checked in over 100 passing attempts on RPOs last year. And honestly, at the rate we're going, I think Jalen Hurts is going to get over 140 if we were to continue. I don't think it is. I don't think it is because if you went back to the Chiefs game, they ran a ton of RPOs against us. It was just that Patrick Mahomes, because of how soft we were playing, he was just handing the ball off. Like, if you're just going to give me 6 yards a clip, I'm going to take it.
Exactly. So, for Nick Sirianni saying, as Fresh said, well, these are run plays that, Jalen's not doing. It's because of the way the defense is playing us, right? Now, look, there could be a game where we call a lot of run plays and the run don't work. I'm not saying because we're going to run the ball, it's always going to be successful. Because we did run the ball in the San Fran game and it kind of went nowhere. It went nowhere, really. But at the end of the day, you got to keep a defense honest. I believe our run game would work. But at the end of the day, teams are seeing what Jalen Hurts does, and so they are baiting him into keeping the ball. When you see that from the sideline, take one of your highlighters off, cross out it on your play sheet, and utilize the fact that we got to call more runs to maybe a different direction. This defensive end is crashing every single time. He's baiting Jalen Hurts to keep it. He goes to the sideline. He can say, Jalen Hurts, why are you not running the ball? You don't see? They're not giving me that. They're not giving me that look. Okay, you know what? We going, let's drop him in single back set and do some stuff. You just got to change it up. You had extra days. I said this with my podcast with LB. If we don't run the ball today against the 25th ranked defense when it comes to the run, if we do not run the ball today, I'm not talking about it no more. Because it's not happening. It's like a now or never type thing. And it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
You're right.
You're right. And real fast, something that we kind of left out situation. We had talked about it before. And Jalen, if you're still in the chat, I want you to do a rebuttal comment on this fact. A lot of the reason why the linebackers or not linebackers, but the defensive ends are able to crash is because the linemen don't know what the hell what's going on. They don't know if it's a run or if they're getting the upfield too fast, and that's why we're getting legal men downfield. They don't know who run a play where everybody knows it's a run. It's going to be different. I'm not saying just get rid of the RP. It doesn't work. Yes, it does sometimes, but you cannot continuously do it. Correct. See, what Nick Sirianni fails to realize is adjustments. And he seems to not do that until it's too late. Like even on Thursday, you want to run the ball in the fourth quarter, and it's too late. Even though we could have still won that game, and we ain't talk about it because we ain't do the post game. I ain't like the Avery getting that 15 yards penalty. To me, that's not a penalty. I talked to a couple people. Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to Sean at Be More Philly. I talked to a couple people about this, and they're saying the new rules, but he didn't do anything. All he did was stand there, and I'm not saying that's the reason why we lost the game. That is one of them. And not only that, oh my gosh, how many pass interference was not called? When you look at the Quez Watkins, when you look at who was that, Rhaegar in the end zone, pass interference, it was horrible. I'm kind of getting off schedule what we talking about, but I just wanted to bring up the game because we ain't talk about it. But I do think that you did have a chance to win that game. And a lot of that is because you started running the freaking football in the fourth quarter. So hopefully that continues and goes into the next game. I would love for that to happen. Miles Sanders was going off. Yeah, what, 12-yard run, like a 23-yard run. He started to go off. Now, that could have been because Tampa Bay, they started to play soft coverage, cover 3, and all that. I get it. I understand that. But you got to get a kid a chance. You got to get a kid a chance. And I understand he has his issues dropping the ball, fumbles, and all that. But we have not seen that this year. In his limited time of getting carries, we have not seen that this year. You got to get a kid a chance, man. And he is stealing. Like I said last year, I thought that Doug Peterson was still in a Pro Bowl from Sanders, and it's looking like that's happening this year also. I'm not saying Miles Sanders is the best running back in the NFC or whatever the case may be, but you're not giving the kid a chance. You see all these running backs getting hurt, and their backups are coming in and getting numbers. So what makes you think that our starter numbers? Yeah, this is a passing league, but you still have to run a freaking football. Everybody that wins the championship runs the football. Tampa Bay last year, they ran a football. You know what I mean? Mahomes and them, they ran a football the year before. We was third in rushing when we won the Super Bowl. So don't tell me running the football don't win games.
And that's why I don't understand. Like, we know about the fact that in Green Bay we came home with a win after running the ball, and there was a meeting about Doug. We got to pass the ball more. But at the end of the day, for a businessman like Jeff Lurie, right? When you see success, say this was the highest, whatever business you're in, you could be a manufacturing company, this, that, and the third, right? The year that you sold the most product, or in our case, won the Super Bowl, you want to duplicate that, right? So how did we sell this much product? How did we win the Super Bowl, right? We were third in rushing. We didn't have a number one back. We had a committee. It was Blunt, Ajayi, and Corey Clement. I'm not saying you have to have a committee. I'm saying you were a very balanced team. So for as much as they want to be a passing team, I just don't understand how a businessman looks at his ultimate year and doesn't try to duplicate that, right? That's as simple as that. It goes in anything, right? If you're selling cheeseburgers with a new sauce, keep making that new sauce. Whatever you're doing, why would you go away from that? And the Eagles, and that's what I'm saying. Like, how dumb can they be if that is really the case? When you had your ultimate success, you're going to want to duplicate that. I just don't get it. But real quick, shout out to my guy Rel Dance in the chat. The RPOs define what the Philly fan base is. Really pissed off. That's what it really stands for. He said that to me yesterday. I was dying. I like
that. Can you Jalen 238?
238. I did ask inside and outside zone.
I do want to kind of break this down. Well, Coach, if you can, because I really don't understand what he's saying by negative. He's saying the O-line is told to block inside zone or outside zone. If I hesitate, I get a negative. But if the QB, he's saying I because he's an outside linebacker. So I mean, he's a lineman. Just so you. If I hesitate, I get a negative. But if the QB holds the ball, he gets a negative. What does he mean by negative?
He's talking about the basis of how RPOs work. So basically, what he's saying is that if an offensive lineman hesitates because he's scared of getting an illegal down the field procedure penalty, so he hesitates and doesn't get to the second level, whether he's blocking inside or outside zone on that running play because it's an RPO, then it's a penalty on him. But at the same time, if the quarterback ends up holding the ball, mind you, the margin for error on RPO is very small in terms of the timing. So if the quarterback just holds the ball, we're talking tenths of seconds here, guys. A tenth of a second too long, you got an illegal procedure down the field penalty. So it's really about the timing. And I feel like the biggest mistake that happened is when you started losing linemen. When you were losing linemen at the rate we were losing linemen, and we kept on with a timing-based offense that is so much about the timing between the quarterback, the running back, the outside threats at receiver, the lineman. There's so much in the timing of the play. The complexity, it's not that complex, right, guys? You read one player. If this dude comes in the box to play the run, we're throwing it. If that dude stays into a zone, we're running it. That part's really simple to do. Then it's just a design concept of, okay, what is it? Is it a tunnel screen? Is it a glance route? Like, what are we running here? LSU and Brady. Joe Brady used to run. They used to like to run that little wheel route with a running back off of RPOs. They used to have a little built-in play for that. There's different ways that you can run those RPOs, but it's all about timing. I can tell you right now, the thing that Joe Brady did at LSU, you can't do that because where they call a legal procedure in college is different from where they call it in the NFL. If we hold the ball for a wheel route on an RPO, we're definitely getting penalized. There's no doubt about it. You can't even do that in the NFL. But there are all these little things about the timing of the offense. That's what he's alluding to, is that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Sorry, guys. Hopefully I didn't just get us demonetized. But you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what you do, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's getting back to this Raiders game. Looking at this Raiders team, we all know they're ranked 25th against the run. But looking at their offense versus our defense, we are hearing reports via the chat. That's the best reporting we're going to get. That Darren Waller is out.
Shout out to y'all.
They still got Hunter Renfrow and Henry Ruggs, who actually Ruggs is leading the league in yards per catch at 23 yards. So he's definitely taking that deep threat.
Sound about right. He ran what, a 4.2, 4.29 or something like that.
He's out.
Yeah.
Here's the thing and this is what I've been talking about. The Eagles are second in the NFL with the fewest pass plays allowed over 20 yards. We only gave up 11 pass plays over 20 yards this season. Second, that could be kudos to the secondary, but it also the fact that teams don't pass against us, they run against us. But the Raiders are leading the league with yards over passing plays over 20 yards with 32. So they're first. This is a team that can get deep. Derek Carr is playing, to me, the best football I've seen him play since he got that major injury. He's playing pretty good football. Losing Darren Waller is a big deal because I believe part of the reason why Ruggs and Renfrow was going off on people is because of how big of a deal Darren Waller is, and teams bracketing him and doing this, that, and the third. So this plays in our favor. I think, a smart team comes in. They're the most explosive team in the NFL when it comes to pass plays over 20 yards. They say, well, what does the Eagles allow? Dinking and dunking and running the ball. But if they try to play to their strength, I think it really bodes well for the Eagles. But we saw the Chiefs, who have a passing coach and a passing quarterback, come in and say, why are we going to try to they did get over the top with Tyreek Hill eventually, but they ran for over almost 200 yards on us. How do you see our defense matching up against this Raiders offense?
Something's got to give. Something has to give. Like, you got a vertical stretch offense, a team that they like to take their deep shots, and you got a defense that plays well. So something has to give there. And in that sense, I think that we have an opportunity. Like that, Derek Carr is not Tom Brady. Like, you can force Derek Carr into a mistake. To me, this is really tough, man, because like everything's on a scale. If I'm looking at Derek Carr and I'm ranking Derek Carr, you got your Tom Brady's, you got your guys like that just really read and see defense as well, right? That you're not going to fool them, right? Then you got your mid-tier quarterbacks that still can be fooled, but they're respectable quarterbacks, right? Like Darnold, Sam Darnold, right? I think that Derek Carr is more talented than Sam Darnold, but I think he's a lot closer to Sam Darnold than Tom Brady.
When you talking about reading coverage.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, they were playing really well across the middle of the field. In the intermediate middle, they were doing really well. If Darren Waller is out, that's a big advantage for the Eagles. Huge advantage. The downside is now I'm afraid they're going to say, we haven't used Josh Jacobs this much this year. Going to use him today. That's my fear.
Yeah, if there's ever a time to turn your run game around, it's against the Eagles. He's only averaging 3.2 yards per carry, and they only average 79 yards on the ground. So again, they're not running it maybe because they're having so much success via the vertical stretch offense. But we have a sign outside the link right now that says run the ball on us. You know what I mean? What teams do against us, we don't do against the other team. We're just it's so annoying to just watch a team run down your throat, pause, and then you just be like, well, we're gonna counter that with a pass.
Yeah. Hey, Jalen, are you sure linebackers are allowed to shoot gaps? I don't think ours are allowed.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I do think that we stopped the run. I'm more scared of Refro in the middle of the seam routes. I mean, yeah, not it's been killing us. That middle of the field has been killing us. He got to find, and I'm talking about Jonathan Gannon. When I say he has a different way of utilizing either more safeties or putting who I think has played the best at linebacker when he's healthy and when he's playing out there more of a speed guy, more can cover better. And then once again, I like Bradley also. So you got to find your guys. Now, he didn't play 6 linebackers last week, and I like that. You know what I mean? I thought as though they did play a little bit better, but the tackling has to be cleaned up. The TJ Edwards and the Singleton, they got to make these tackles. When you are one-on-one, you have to make the tackles, man.
Yeah,
that's scared of the most is the middle of the field, and that's another thing that we don't utilize. You just said it, Gates. We don't do what our other team, what our opponent is doing to us. It's you see that it's working, and I said this, I did a little halftime situation on the Tampa Bay game, and I said you're not utilizing the middle of the field. That's a problem to me. Why is everything post routes? Why is everything all the way down the field? And Jalen Hurts has no middle of the field. Zach Ertz was used more, but still not enough. Now Zach Ertz is gone, man. Shout out to him.
Still rocking that Eagles bracelet on him. That's tough.
Yeah, I seen it. I mean, Eagle, he bleed green, man. No matter the situation.
Yeah,
they didn't want to pay him, but that's another decision, another conversation for another day. I think Dallas Goedert can go off in this situation in this game. I think he can absolutely go off. Now, that's not my offensive player of the game. I'm gonna tell you who. But later. So when you look at the situation of us not utilizing the middle of the field and our opponents do, that's what I'm scared of. You know what I mean? I think if this stuff is not cleaned up, Refro is going. I'm not. No, it's Refro, right? Refro.
Renfro. I think
Renfro is Renfro, right?
He's
gonna have a freaking field day. And
the only good thing I can say though, Reese, is that for some weird reason, Avonte Maddox is having. I'm not saying he doesn't make a mistake.
I was just about to say that. That's crazy. Yeah. I was just about to say it's not Avonte Maddox's fault. It's the linebackers. Yeah. They're putting these 5 receiver sets, and Jonathan Gannon is not adjusting to that and taking a linebacker. He's keeping. We just seen 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Tyreek scored 2 touchdowns on I can't remember, but a linebacker. It should be no reason ever, huh?
Wilson.
Yeah, it should. Who is I think is our worst linebacker. It should be no reason. It should be no reason ever. Wilson is sticking Tyreek Hill in a red zone. Jonathan Gannon has to make those adjustments to say, 5 wide receiver set. Okay, we're gonna bring in another safety or another corner, and hopefully this guy that we got from the Cardinals, maybe he can be that guy. I know he's not a safety, he's a corner, but I did hear that he's like a versatile player, so maybe he'd be that guy. I don't know. I haven't really seen him play, but I do know for something got to change. You cannot have 3 linebackers on the field when it's 5 wide receivers. That's just facts. Go ahead, Joe.
Let me hit a couple of our heavy hitters, Mike, that asked us some questions about.
Go ahead.
So to begin with, this is the second week. Look, it's the second week in a row you asked me this question. I'll get to crypto, Lisa. You can keep crypto. Mir Slat. So I agree with you in principle that there are times we should go hurry up, but I don't want to go completely Chip Kelly to where we're just going straight hurry up, because you gotta be timed with that stuff, or else you're just going to go quickly 3 and out. You know what I mean? Like you gotta
execute.
Be careful. Right? Yeah, we gotta execute plays. Crypto, but I agree with you in principle, Mir Slat, what you're saying. There are times in games where Jalen Hurts plays much better in an up-tempo offense, and we probably shouldn't just be waiting into the 2-minute mark of halftime and, late in ball games, like, maybe switch things up on teams once or twice a series here and there in a game and hit them with a little bit. I agree with that.
Get a first down and then do it, right? So you keep the momentum going.
Exactly. Then get them on their heels. Cryptolicious. I think what you're saying, it's the point. It's the point I've been trying to make, man. Which is,
the way Gabe said his name so calm, real quick. Sorry. No, but you said it so normal, and then
I'm used to talking to him.
I'm about to say, he must know him because I've seen that name. I'm like, what?
Yeah. But this is the argument I keep making about, look, I don't care if Nick Sirianni calls plays or not, because I think it's overrated. It's really not that difficult to call plays, guys. And here's the thing.
But it's situated. Go ahead, my bad.
Your play calling is going to be connected to your game plan. Your game plan is connected to the install of your offense. The install of your offense is connected to your quarterback, the outside receivers, basically the offensive line, and the talent, the skill position players around it when it comes to offensive football. Okay? You cannot separate one component from the other. They're all related to each other. Okay? Now, we can make the arguments of whether or not Nick Sirianni has evaluated things correctly, but that's clearly his viewpoint is clearly a certain thing about the offensive skill set around him in the quarterback. Whether it's right or wrong, there's a very clear opinion of what he thinks. It's quite obvious from the play calling. I think the argument a lot of us are making, Cryptolicious, is that there's more than, for lack of better words, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't even know why that's a saying. I don't even understand that saying, but whatever. We all know what it means. Like, there's more than one way to achieve that, right? So you can design running plays, like not RPO based, an actual running play with inside or outside zone, or, even, stretch plays, whatever you need to do to, design actual running plays to take some of the onus off of the quarterback, right? Then you not worrying about the play calling, you can be more of the executive coach style and be over top of the development, because I think we have a far larger issue with player development than anything else. I think that is the larger issue at hand. This is a coaching staff of young guys that are supposed to be very good at developing players. Let's develop the players. Let's make that the focus. Let's start with 10 to 20 routes. These are, 10 to 20, not routes, 10 to 20 play concepts that we need these outside receivers, outside of just Devontae Smith, to master. No excuses. You run the route the right way. You know the coverage. You know what's going to be faced against if you see it. This is how you run the route depending on the leverage of the corner, depending on the technique they play. You have to develop these guys. It's just, you run the ball, you start developing, then you got a quarterback that you can start getting timing with the receivers. You can start loosening the ropes a little bit on Jalen Hurts and letting him play a little bit more full field reads, incorporating more and more of the playbook. To me, the approach was all wrong. The approach was all wrong. I think they tried to make him comfortable. You keep hearing Sirianni say that word, comfort. Comfort. Like, dude, it's the NFL. Where do you grow, guys? Yeah. Do you grow where you're comfortable or where you're not comfortable? Where does growth actually happen?
And that's my biggest thing, and I don't like to compare quarterbacks to quarterbacks, but we saw the deficiencies in Josh Allen's first year. We saw the deficiencies in Lamar Jackson's first year. We saw deficiencies in other quarterbacks. I don't know if we have the personnel to actually coach Jalen up to where he needs to get better. Again, if everything's uncomfortable work, and first of all, it's not working. It would be different if all the comfortable stuff was getting us W's and we were going about that. But we're 2-4. It's time for these players to get uncomfortable. Coaching situation got to be better. And I think Jalen said it. It's not so much, look, they draw up the game plan throughout the week, right? Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, the quarterback coach, Jalen Hurts has some input, and then Nick Sirianni. They all come up with the game plan for the week. That's where they get all the comfortable stuff for Jalen, right? Now, it's Nick Sirianni's the one who picks the plays in the order, but something that I don't see from us and I see from the other great play calls, and I'm not asking Nick Sirianni to be great right away, but I want to see some rhyme or rhythm in this, and that's just setting up plays, right? You set things up so you can make that double move, So that screenplay that you do, if you do it in the middle of the second quarter for the first time, not in the middle of the second quarter for the 9th time, if you do that screenplay after hitting it with a couple looks from that same formation where Devontae got off for 25 yards, Quez got off for a 30 piece. Now you hit that same formation and it's a screen pass because they're playing back. Like, you have to set up your play calling, right? You do this so you can attack this later in the game. You do this, you can attack this. You see what you had success in, and you go ahead and flip them plays over the other side. That. I don't see that. I see some of the concepts are good. Like watching all 22, I agree with Crypto. We're gonna end with that. Devontae Smith is open, but in the end, you just have to be better in your rhyme and your rhythm of calling the game. And I think we don't see that until it starts to get fourth quarter. Everybody's scrambling, and that's why we've been a better second half team. Yes, the defense adjusts and plays prevent, but quarterbacks throw interceptions in prevent. People get stopped to prevent. Look, I've seen teams lose 27-0, right? So the second half there was prevent. They still scored nothing, right? You know what I mean? So just because it's playing a little bit off, don't mean it's necessary. It's still what you would call garbage time, but anytime you move the ball, you want to look at how you're doing it then. And that's been our problem. We don't play football until the second half.
Yeah.
See, play calling is more than just calling plays. It's also situational football. And I know you guys know that. I'm just saying this to say what I'm setting you up for the rope-a-dope, basically. So here's the thing. So you got situational football, and Mike, you're right. That's what I was going to say about the screen pass. You see that they're not working, and it always doesn't work on situations of fast linebacker defense, fast defenses, period. Carolina showed that. You know what I mean? The screens was not working at all. Last week, the screens was not working at all. But you're trying to, and I said this all last year, and this is the first time I'm saying it this year. You're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. If it's not working, you have to do something else. You have to route. How about you can still run screens? How about you run them in the middle of the field? Everything, first of all, those long screen passes, it takes so much to develop. And you're trusting one guy to make a block. If that block, that play's done. Ew. But if you do it in the middle of the field, you can trust your lineman. You can trust your tight end. It's other guys that got to make blocks. And maybe he makes one or two other guys miss. I'm just saying, how many screens have we seen in the middle of the field? You get what I'm saying? Like, everything don't got to be on the outside. It's like everything Sirianni, and we grinding him up. But we do got to understand he is a rookie head coach. We get it. We don't have patience as Philly fans. Maybe we need some. But sometimes, if I see it, if Gates see it, we never coach in the NFL. If Mike see it, never coach in the NFL. Never coach a day on my freaking life.
We play Madden.
but seriously, if we see it, if the fans see it, people in the chat, in our chat, shout out to y'all. If they see it, why can't you? Why can't you? It's the simple things that's getting us pissed. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're not running the ball enough. We already went over that. You're not using your tight ends enough, in my opinion. We already went over that. You know what I mean? Now we're talking about these screens, and you can use bubble screens. Where are they at? Everything to this guy is on the outside of the numbers. And those plays take so long to develop, whether it's a fly route, whether it's a deep post route, whether it's one of those screen plays all the way to the other side of the field. It takes so long to develop, and defenses are on it like that. And not only that, they know what you're doing. So when we see it, you think defensive coordinators who've been doing this, they don't see it neither? That's the problem that we really have. It's not so much of the play calling. It's situational football when you call the play, if y'all get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Jalen, that's a great point, man. That was one thing, like I said, I mean, I thought the first couple of games, I thought Doug really did a great job with Jalen Hurts. The Washington game, I'm going to throw that out because that was, I don't even know what was happening in that Washington game. That one's just really hard to figure out for the life of me. I've never seen a game you've tried to throw away so hard in your life.
He got a call from upstairs. That's what happened.
Clearly. But the Dallas game was a game that I thought your earlier point, Jalen, which is Dallas came out, played a cover 2, and then played down tight against our receivers and forced Jalen to try to throw into NFL level windows, right? And then he couldn't hit those open routes across. He didn't see them. It wasn't he couldn't hit them. He didn't see those open. He wasn't hitting the vacated zones in the short to intermediate middle of the field that was open against that Tampa 2. And as a result of that, we saw him really struggle. And I think teams have pretty much, not that they're playing cover 2, Tampa 2 style there, but teams are adapting to that theory of take away the outside, make it tough to throw there, put NFL level windows there, and dare him to throw across the middle of the field. And so far, he has struggled to do it. Doesn't mean that he won't get it together, guys. Like a lot of people struggle early in their careers. I saw a comment earlier where they were talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I don't know how much football you watch, but both of those guys struggled mightily early in their careers to throw the football.
With reads and accuracy.
Yeah. Allen was an absolute dumpster fire at first. A lot of physical talent. I mean, the guy has a monster arm, but he was just like Jalen to where he was mistiming throws. He was too late on the delivery on a lot of them. He had a lot of, problems with his delivery and the timing and syncing his footwork. He had a lot of issues, but he worked on it.
Same thing with Tannehill. Same thing with Tannehill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tannehill now.
Yeah, and
speaking of Miami, they're getting walked by Atlanta right now.
Yes, that pick is looking so great. It's just is Howie going to be the one? We'll talk about Howie another day. But yeah, look. So Marion Johnson said Hurts told Baldinger nobody really coached him hard, and I do worry about again, Sean McDermott, Brian DeBall. I like that coaching tree, right? So they were able to get Josh Allen on the right track, and maybe Josh Allen just needed some time to adjust. Lamar Jackson has what's his name, John Harbaugh, and a good staff over there to get him on the right track. When I look at Jalen Hurts, there's definitely things he got to learn. But people act like if you couldn't do it in college, or if you didn't do it, like he played a certain style of football in college, right? He has CeeDee Lamb, first read, normally going to get his. The defenses were a lot worse, and he relied on his legs. His legs got him out of trouble a lot easier in college than it will get him in the NFL. With that being said, he has to learn that our NFL defense are a lot more complex. He has a lot to learn, but do we got the guys to get him right in Brian Johnson, Shane Steichen, and Nick Sirianni? That is my question, because, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, they were raw, but they got put into a situation where they had some legit coaches, right? Sean McDermott's been around. He worked through his way up. Brian DeBall, a lot of people were looking at him for a head coaching job. But they have a system. They had what they were doing before they drafted. We get the rookie head coach we get the rookie head coach, some rookie coordinators, and then we get a rookie quarterback that needs work. And by the way, Brian Johnson and him have a, off-field relationship. So is he getting the right coaching and being put, in the right situation? And one more comment on here about, again, the RPOs. Are we doing this for Jalen? Is that all Jalen can do? Well, again, if the word audition is the main thing, right? If we're saying Jalen Hurts is auditioning, well, you don't audition for one part. You audition for the whole dang thing, right? You audition to be a NFL quarterback. So sink and swim, you got to give him the whole package, or you're not giving him the whole script. Pause. I see you. Go ahead. Somebody unsubscribed from me because I said pause. I said pause in a video twice in one video. It was like a 12-minute video, and he was legitly commenting. It was like, bro, I love your content, but no grown man should say pause. We understand that you're not meaning that, so I'm gonna have to unsubscribe. And I was just
really fun.
Okay.
It's really fun. It's really funny. Like, we understand. Like, we're not gonna get with that. Like, but it's funny. Like, if you can't take a joke, I don't know what.
I know, right? I'm like, all right, peace, bro.
Damn, Mike, what you was just saying? You was just talking about Jalen Hurts and what the
auditioning.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. he's saying that. Well, I ain't saying that. He's saying that. Whoever's saying that, is he doing it for Jalen Hurts? Well, the numbers show, and I know me, I ain't no numbers guy, but the eye test shows also when you give him 3 to 5, 7 dropbacks, he completes those passes. How about this? Instead of you want to help your quarterback, instead of the RPO, how about you roll him out? You got a mobile quarterback. We have not talked about that all year. How about you start rolling him out? You got a mobile quarterback who can throw on a row on a run. That pass to was that Dallas Goedert in the end zone touchdown? That was on the move, on the run. And that was a hell of a throw, hell of a catch too. That was a hell of a throw. Get this guy opportunities. You're not utilizing, and this is what I'm gonna keep saying. This the real reason I got a problem with Nick Sirianni. He lied to us, y'all. He said, and I'm gonna say it again, that he was going to his opportunity. He told us.
Wait, say it again. You broke up a little bit. I think Nick Sirianni's playing with the stream, not trying to let you tell why he's lying.
No, he said that he was going to put his players in the best opportunities. This is the first conference. Remember, I was the one defending him. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, damn, get a guy a chance. I grind him up about a press conference. But from that press conference, he lied to us. He said he was going to put his players in the best opportunities to be the best selves. Well, you're not doing that for nobody. You ain't doing that for Quez Watkins. You damn sure ain't doing it for Devontae Smith. You damn sure ain't doing it for the lineman. You damn sure ain't doing it for Miles Sanders. You damn sure ain't doing it for Jalen Hurts. So when you look at it, what have you done to help these young? We have a young team. I don't know about youngest team in the NFL. I don't know how that go. I don't know how to look that up or whatever the case may be. Who's the youngest team? But I guarantee we got to be there somewhere. I'm talking about offensively. You know what I mean? Like everybody offensively is young when you look at it. Now the offensive line, we got some old heads on there. A couple of them hurt. Shout out to Brooks and all that. But when you look at the situation, all your wide receivers are young. Your oldest wide receiver is Greg Ward. That's your oldest wide receiver, and he don't even play. So you being a wide receiver and a wide receiver coach, you are not helping these guys by not utilizing their best attributes. Devontae Smith should be used in the middle of the field way more. I'm going to go back to the middle of the field because his footwork is elite, but you're not utilizing it. And everything I've been flying out with Quez Watkins. It doesn't. Everything don't got to be like when we see Quez Watkins, what do we see? You can do more with that talent. See, last year we didn't have talent. We have talent this year, and that's a problem that you're not utilizing it. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah,
I wonder though. I wonder how much of that has to do with Nick believing that. Okay, look, this young man, because when we classify, like what I had someone say this too, and they were like, hey, it's a high school offense. I'm like, look, I get the point you're trying to make, but factually, it's not a high school offense. It's a college level offense. It's from the Rich Rodriguez option tree. Okay? It comes from Rich Rodriguez.
Like, what are you giggling about over there?
Because you're a part of your sequela, you're saying went like T-Painish, and then I thought of that from the gate, and then now Jalen said it. It kind of like it buffered, and you like T-Pain, and then Jalen said it. So I just.
Oh, all right. I gotta catch it on the that. What time is it? 5. Okay. Go ahead.
But no, I mean it comes down from it's coming down from Rich Rodriguez was the first one that I can remember distinctly running a lot of this option-based offense stuff, and a lot of people from there. Kind of they filtered down to Lincoln Riley, where Lincoln Riley had a less than talented team at ECU when he was underneath Ruffin McNeil as the offensive coordinator. And while Riley was there, he had a guy that had a decent arm, but he wasn't really like a D1 level quarterback. But if you could get him in the right style of offense, like you could do something with him. So Lincoln Riley started merging parts of Rich Rodriguez's offense with some other things around the league. And then when he got to Oklahoma, you got this, this diversion from the tree, right? And that's what Jalen Hurts knew. So I think that's, I think that's what Sirianni was trying to do is like, okay, we know that he knows this offense. We want to start off early in games, getting him into a rhythm, giving him easy looks, easy reads. I just think it was flawed because, like, the other side you didn't consider is that as each week goes on, you put out film, teams see what you're doing early in games. They game plan against you. Their first 15 plays or so are scripted, just like yours are. And if you don't move the football early in games, if you don't put points on the board, if you don't, then you're in trouble if your defense is playing break, but break. Because it ain't been but don't break. It's been break but don't break, basically. So I think that's a big part of it. I think they got to go back. Like I said, I don't know about the self-scouting thing in 10 days, how much you can do, but I do think there are some very minor adjustments you can make. Like, hey, we got to back off some of this utilization of RPOs and just do a little bit more design runs, just a little bit more true called run things. I just don't see how an RPO or a play action pass is supposed to work if you never run the ball. Like, who's playing the run? Like, who's honestly going to play the run if you never run? It doesn't make sense to me from that standpoint. But I mean, we'll see. I think that's where his mindset was, to be honest, Reese. I think it was failed. I think it's very much failed because he took advantage of a land they weren't ready for it. I think San Francisco, he tried to run at them, and he ran right into the strength of their defense. I mean, he did hit a couple plays, but they weren't executed correctly in San Francisco, which, the Rager touchdown they got called back. That's why I keep saying, man, I know that Nick is viewing it as if I give up play calling, I'm probably not a one and done coach unless I give up play calling. I think it's the way he's viewing it. If I give up play calling, then I give up what justification I'm supposed to be here. That's if you don't win games. You know what I'm saying? If you give it up because you're going into player development and you're executive coaching and you start winning games, I think it's different. And I think that's the issue, is that I think we have a larger player development issue. I don't care what you call. I don't care what you scheme. I don't care what you install. If you don't have the players to execute it, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be good. It's that simple.
Yeah, and like I said, to get it back to the Raiders a little bit more, they're 25th ranked in stopping the run. There's no reason that we don't run this ball. I mean, this is the game. Like I said, I'm not a guy who tries to give up on anybody. The quarterback, the coach, early. I'll stress my opinions about him. Like when Hurts is bad, I'll admit it. Look, I'm about the logo at the end of the day. I've seen coaches, I've seen players come and go. Although I do like, and certain guys, and I root for them. At the end of the day, it's the ultimate success for the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to run the ball here. It's like, if you don't run the ball here, it's like that door is closed and it's not opening. It's locked. Nothing's changing. And I just don't know. Again, if I start to go into it's because of Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman, which I'm not saying it is or it ain't, but then that's a bigger problem. That's a problem that's not going away. And so, if that is the case, then, we're there's nothing we can do. But this is a winnable game. This will be the best win for the Philadelphia Eagles thus far if we can get it done. I think this catapults this team into a different direction. Right now, sitting at 2-4, you lose this game, then you go to play the Lions, and somehow you either lose or win a close game there. You're looking at the trade deadline as, look, we might be legit sellers. I'm not saying being 4-4 changes our mind and makes us buyers, but it can make us stay the same and start to really figure this out. You always need to keep a right amount of vets on the team. You can't be super young, and I think we are young in a lot of places. Again, the offense is pretty much set up for the future if these guys pan out. The defense is what's going to need the whole haul. With replacing the older guys and getting guys who are not on 1-year contracts. With that being said, this Raiders game is important. I think we can win. I really do feel like we could win. I believe with no Darren Waller, we have to put pressure on Derek Carr. I think he's playing a lot better than people say. But you get pressure on Derek Carr. They're missing 2 offensive linemen. No Darren Waller. Attack. It's not a good run game. It could look good against us, though. I mean, Chuba Hubbard went for 100 yards. Leonard Fournette got reborn against us, running over Alex Singleton. Sorry, Alex, you need to drink some milk, bro. I don't know what to tell you. We can't look. Vegas is not stupid, and I'm not talking about the Rams. I'm talking about the gambling part of Vegas, right? It's like a 2.5 point spread on the road. For the Eagles are going into someone's crib who is 4-2, 2 games over 500 in their house, and Vegas got us only underdogs by 2.5. That's a saying something. Let's get this dub.
That's actually we actually favorite in that situation.
Yeah,
you can get 3 points from
it's an even split, is how I would call
it. Yeah. Both y'all was talking. I ain't hear you.
No, I was saying I would call that almost an even split. If it's 3 points or less on the road, I'd call that almost an even split.
You get 3 points. You're supposed to get 3 points just for being at home. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So we just hit on an hour. We just hit. Everybody's got quiet. We're just hitting on an hour. We still got 274 people watching. Again, if you are like, this guy's lying, we are live on 3 channels: the Philly Talk Podcast, which is mine; Gate City Sports Channel, which is the Floating Head, and Philly Fresh below. So definitely go check everybody out. Subscribe to the channels if you are not, and hit the like button for everybody that does push out this content. And it's always good to see Cowboy fans that have nothing better to do than to listen to Eagles football for a damn hour, right? You got guys in here who
I'm gonna give them a pass this week because but y'all be in here faithfully every week, even if your team playing, they be in here.
Yeah,
you won't catch me on no dollar.
To be honest, though, look, I'm subscribed to a couple Cowboy content creators because we're cool and we collab and stuff, and some of them are live. So I'm like, yo, why are you not watching their show? Go watch Small Nation, man. He's talking about the Cowboys.
Jalen Williams, you are so reading my mind on 2 points that you made. The first point, to be honest with you, Jalen, I'd have to go back and really watch the film, all right? Which he's asking about option routes. You remember Nick talked about he was going to allow the receivers to option their routes. It was going to be up to the quarterback to read that option and know where the leverage was. I sure hope that's not happening because I don't have any faith in all these receivers to have the nuance of the route running to do that, to be quite honest, Jalen. But I'd have to go back and look and just see if there's any telltale signs I can see to where I can see that he optioned it. Your second point, I agree, because here's the thing. I'm looking at this year's draft class, and there's still time. There's still time. He's talking about he's a fan of sticking with Hurts for 2 years over 1 because those 3 first-round picks are far better spent on the rest of the roster than another quarterback with all these holes. I agree. I absolutely agree with you. I think that, I look at this one, and don't get me wrong, there are guys that have talent, but everyone is going to be coming from a system where, like, you got a guy like Carson Strong who has the arm talent, right? He's got the physical arm talent to do so. But the problem with him is he's not coming from a very NFL-ready system. So you're already going to be dealing with that year 1, year 2 as well already. You look at Malik Willis, the guy from Liberty. Hard to judge his play this year because he's not being asked to do a lot of things that were going to relate to the NFL, and he's not playing with a very talented roster around him. So I don't know that you're going to get a very good read on a player like that. To me, Malik Willis, I've heard some comparisons. He reminds me a lot of I don't know if I should say this, but let's just say the kid from North Dakota State, but not Carson. So I look at this year's draft class, like Sam Howell. I got questions about Sam Howell. You guys remember this offseason when we were talking about Sam Howell, I said we're going to learn a lot about Sam Howell because he's losing a lot of offensive weapons at UNC. I don't know that offense has lived up to Sam Howell being like a dominant quarterback. I mean, I think there's legitimate questions there about Sam Howell. Like my guy down in Oklahoma, I think, didn't he get benched for, I don't know if it was like a game, but I think he got benched for at least a portion of the game because of his play. So, I mean, I don't know that Ritter at Cincinnati, another guy that I don't think is really running a complex offense. I just don't. And I know we can make the argument that a lot of these college offenses are kind of going to these great concepts and RPO-based offenses, and every team now is going to have to spend a tremendous amount of effort to get these guys up to speed for the NFL, or you're going to see a lot more college stuff in the NFL as a result of that. But I don't know, man. I just think that I agree with you, Jalen. I think there are things that you can do to help the offense, such as moving the receivers. Stop telling them, hey, win on your release. You can do that, but you can't overburden a guy with 50 releases like that. Get 10 or 15 releases where you're moving them. You're stacking them, and you're giving free releases. Because some of these guys aren't getting the point, man. Some of these guys need far more development. They still need development. They're still not good at releasing off the line of scrimmage. They're still getting easily disrupted and taken out of plays because they're not paying attention to where the sideline is because they didn't give enough space in their release. And by the way, it's happened with a guy that I think is a pretty good route runner, Devontae Smith, who made a mental error. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like he was forced out of bounds, and he should have gotten the reestablishment call personally. But it is what it is. Calls go the way they go. And the other receiver, who clearly he didn't release far enough to the inside to gain the leverage. He's trying to run in a straight line, and you can't do that. Like, you're not just going to blow by every single defensive back in the NFL. It's not going to happen. Number one, if you start doing that too often, they're just going to put a safety over top of it.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to learn how to sell routes, man, and you got to learn how to release. And I still think we're fighting that, man. I still think there are things within the concepts of the offense that can be improved. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is or is not the answer. I don't know, guys. He's got a lot more to prove. I agree with that standpoint. But I look at what's coming up the pipeline in terms of quarterback play, and I'm not sold that any of those dudes I can really say with 100% certainty is going to be a ball player. I don't know. I don't think this is a particularly good class in 22, to be honest. I mean, there's still time. Maybe I'll change my mind, but
I do like the safety from Notre Dame. I like him. It's a linebacker. I want to say is in Illinois. He's somewhere, and it's also a linebacker from Bama. I don't know if he's coming out this year. I'm not sure. I'm not quite too. I watched the games, but I'm not too fond of the names yet. But it's a couple. Like, to me, I would go all defense. I would go all defense with those first. Well, I probably wouldn't. I probably would trade one of those first round picks. We got to see, and we're going to have this conversation later on. We got to see what the Colts actually are going to, where they're going to finish. So knowing where that first round pick is going to be, if it is a first round pick, hopefully it is. You look at the situation, I would go all defense, and I was talking to Chuck about this earlier, man. To me, number one, definitely not going with no quarterback. I don't think Bryce is coming out. He can't come out. This is what, his sophomore year? Anybody know? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I had to look it up, man. I don't know off the top of my head either. There's the kid out. There's the kid out in Boston.
Do y'all know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Which Bryce?
Talking about Bryce from Alabama, quarterback.
I don't know too much about him though. Let
me check, man. I don't know where he stands in terms of his.
I think he's a sophomore. I don't know if he's going to come out, but I'm not, like, other than him, I don't know what quarterback you would try to get. You know what I mean? Especially, I'm basically saying that I definitely would give Jalen Hurts a year. But the whole thing with that is, in that year, you're going to have to pay him. Remember, he's a second round pick. He's not a first. So it's an option for him. And he's going to be going in his third year. People really don't get paid until the fourth year when they're a quarterback. So he's going to be looking for money in his third year. Fifth year option, he was second round. So to me, next year is the deciding factor. Now, a lot of people saying this year, I don't think so, especially when you look at the coaching and everything that's going on right now. You can't fully evaluate Jalen Hurts right now. You really can't. It's not fair to be evaluated right now with everything that's going on. And Mike, you said this, I want to say, in one of your lives or your video that I was watching. Our schedule coming up is looking like the worst of it's gone. The worst of our schedule was gone. Our schedule coming up is looking kind of better, a lot better. You know what I mean? So when you look at that situation, he could probably come out with a winning record. Who knows? So when you look at if Nick Sirianni runs the ball more, better play calling, cuts down on the RPOs, I think that you will see a better quarterback. Now, it's crazy because we do need to talk about the throws that he missed. But here's the thing. Everybody misses throws. What quarterback you are, nobody's 100%. Everybody misses touchdown throws, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, all of that. But the thing is, the margin of error is because it's so small. So when he misses throws, we look at we put binoculars on him. We put the spotlight on him because like, damn, we're struggling so bad. We're waiting for a play. The play is right there, and you didn't make it. But if he gets more opportunities with those plays, I think that he will be able to make them instead of just RPO, and he's running for his life. So we do got to give him and Nick Sirianni, some time. But the thing is, the thing is, when you look at the situation of Nick Sirianni, said this earlier, it's not just the play calling, it's just the simple things that he's not doing right as a head coach. And that's why I say maybe you do need to step back and give up play calling so you can fix all these other things. And then maybe you can, I might need that back. I got everything right. Now I got to spin a block and I might need play calling back. Maybe you give it to never name right, Shashysky or the hell is his name? I think Gates don't mean when I be talking, man. He be reading all damn comments.
No, I read this one.
No, I'm listening to you. But
yeah, the Giants just got Sam Darnold.
I'll tell you where you distracted me. It wasn't even the comments. You had me looking up Bryce Young because I haven't had an opportunity to watch him play this year. Recently.
He's amazing, yo.
So now the only thing I noticed about him is he's very highly recruited. I mean, this is there's some boards there saying that he's the highest recruited player since Tua to come to Alabama. But the 6 foot mark, bothers me about him. He's a little short. But
they recruited him high even though they had Jalen Hurts.
Tua was like I think Tua was one of the first 5-star quarterbacks they got to commit there in some time. Yeah.
But we are going at it. We're on an hour and 12 minutes, and we got about 30 minutes before Eagles take the field in Las Vegas. With that being said, wherever you're watching, we got 262 people in the chat. Again, we are live on 3 channels: Philly Talk Podcast, Gay City Sports Channel, and Philly Fresh. Hit the like button. Yeah. It's free.
It's setting me down a rabbit hole, bro.
Yeah, now you're gonna be looking. It's free, it's easy, it don't cost a thing, and it's greatly appreciated. It does push out the content, it gets more eyes on the channel, and that's the best way to support is hitting the like button. But here we go. Offense, defensive player who's going to stand out today and help us get a W plus a score prediction. Go ahead, chat. Let us know your offense and defensive player and score prediction, and we'll start with Gate.
Oh, jeez, come on, man. All right.
He's all like Bryce Young. I mean,
this is going to be I'm getting tired of suspecting it, man, but if it ain't today, when's it going to be, man? Miles Sanders.
Just say the name, man. Just say the name. We know what it is.
15 times. 15 times he's going to have to touch the ball in the running game. And can we get this guy a look 3 to 5 times in the passing game? I'm not asking for him to handle the ball 25 times or more. Just give me somewhere between 15 to 22 touches a game consistently. Defensively, whoa. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think the guy that's going to have to step up and really play well, I think it's going to have to come from the secondary, man. And because Anthony Harris is out, I think it's going to have to be Epps, man. Epps is going to have to play a major role today, probably.
Anthony Harris is out?
I think so. I think Anthony Harris is out. I think he injured like both of his hands or something like that. I think he's out.
You injured both your hands.
Yeah.
There's a T-Pain again. We got the T-Pain coming back.
Y'all can't hear me?
No, now you're good with it. You were T-Paining it.
No, they didn't put out the inactives or nothing yet. They usually do that. like by now.
Maybe
Like,
we're
that's
just not
weird.
gonna. Maybe we're just not gonna show up.
Well, sure enough, that stinks. He said Epps is out, so it ain't gonna be Epps. So
Dang, Gate City
Elijah
is
Riley.
giving it.
Step
Gate
on up,
City's giving
Elijah
the
Riley.
game. He trying to give the game ball to somebody who didn't even play. Not even play.
My man's gonna he's gonna
All
have a
right,
great
come on,
game.
Gates. All right, Gates, what we doing?
So you got Sanders and Elijah and the backup to Epps, the backup to the backup to the backup, right? Because Kevon Wallace is
Yeah.
out. It's like,
Bro, who is active for the Eagles?
That's what I'm saying. They ain't even bring up no. I do know that they did Patrick something. I can't remember his name, but Mike is sicky. All right. Score prediction.
score
Gates.
prediction. They're saying that the inactives is out. Eminem said they did.
I can't find.
Yeah, I'm
him.
looking at it right now.
On the Eagles app. I don't
Sure
got
enough,
it.
says Riley about to show up.
Anderson, Jack Anderson, Tay Gowan, Anthony Harris, Mac McCain, Gardner Minshew, Suapeta, and Marlon Tui Pelotu. So no, Epps should be active, guys.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. We got Sanders, Epps, and go ahead and give us your score prediction.
Be more. I see you, bro.
Be more Philly, not Indy. Go ahead, Gate. What's your score prediction? And then Fresh can go.
Well,
Score
we are-
prediction. Man, any way we can get a win is my prediction. Anyway, I don't care if we got to clothesline the offensive coordinator on an accident, getting pushed out of bounds.
Just
I'm
win,
gonna say,
baby. Take the Raiders. Stay insane, bro.
Look, I think the Raiders are going to try to come right at us and run the ball. But I will say this, man. You lose Darren Waller. Man, I don't know, man. I like the Edwards kid from South Carolina a lot. They drafted the last year. Actually, I think he's going to be a ball player in a couple of years. I'm going to say 27-17 Philly.
27-17?
Yep.
Ooh, I'll take the double-digit win. Let's go. Go ahead, Fresh.
All right. I'm gonna go a little unorthodox with this one for my offensive guy. I'm gonna go with Jordan Mailata. I think he's a guy that helps with those screen passes on the outside. He's going back to his original position. Lane Johnson coming back. Shout out to that. I'm gonna go with him. I think he protects Jalen Hurts, and I think he disrupts. Hopefully, we run the ball and he gets to the second level and he just demolishes people. So I'm gonna go with him. I know it's hard because he's not gonna rack up any stats or anything, but I'm gonna go with him. Defensively, I'm gonna go with Avonte Maddox. I talked about Renfro. I don't know if he's actually going to be on him. Hopefully, they do not play that 3 linebacker set when they got 5 wide receivers and all that. They are out of tight end, so that's something that Maddox doesn't have to deal with Waller. I just think Avonte Maddox has been a guy that's quietly just been solid. Like we talk about Slade, we talk about Nelson because they got the picks. And Slade last 2 weeks has been outstanding, literally outstanding. What he did against Mike Evans and also what he did against who did we just play? Who did we play before? DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore.
I felt that because I have him on fantasy in 2 leagues. I felt the hit. I felt the hit.
So when you look at what he did the last 2 weeks, I get it, but Avonte just been solid, and I got to give him his flowers now. My score prediction, I'm going to go with 14-21 Eagles. You already know.
All right. So we got Jordan Mailata and Miles Sanders as the offensive players taken. We got Marcus Epps and Avonte Maddox for the defensive players. I like the scores. I'm going to go with my score prediction first. We're going to say 24-23. Jalen Hurts gets them in field goal range to take the game-winning field goal.
Trying to give me a heart attack, man. What's up?
I hate them games too, but 24-23, we leave Vegas. And you know they saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Not this W. This W's coming home to Philly before we go to Detroit.
Is it crazy to me, though, Mike? I'm more concerned about the Detroit game than I am this Raiders game. And I'm not saying that the Raiders are necessarily a pushover. If they had Darren Waller and they had all their pieces, I think this would be a far tougher game. Something about that Detroit game of being so close to getting your wins and just letting them slip by, it concerns the crap out of me.
Hey, Jalen, you want to know why? Bad offensive line play can make the best quarterback in the NFL look bad.
And also, the Titans are probably running a damn ball. But with that being said, I would love to say Miles Sanders. I would love to say Kenny Gainwell. But I think if someone's going to get a big game, it's going to be Miles. So on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to go with Quez Watkins. He hasn't had too many games where he only had one game in this season that he had more snaps than Jalen Reagor. That was the Carolina game. We got a W, right? It's funny. So I think he's going to get in a lineup and get involved quickly. I got Quez going off, hopefully on the back of Jalen Hurts playing good, because Jalen Hurts is coming off his worst game, I think, of the season in the Bucs game. Defensive side of the ball, we got two people in the secondary. Well, it's time to go to the defensive line. It's hard on this defensive line because of how far back. I mean, even I had Derek Gunn on the channel earlier this week, and he's like, our safeties playing Timbuktu, and I agree. Like the safeties, that's why we don't get beat over the top as much. But it's with the safeties playing so often, the corners playing off, it's really hard for this D line. But we're going to see one of these Hargrave games, right? The grave digger, whatever you want to call him. Guy got 5 or 6 sacks on the season. He has no one else has more than 2 on their team. Grave digger's going to come in
big opportunity
and get at Derek Carr, which is going to up the value. Because of Grave Digger, one of Gate City or Fresh's guys, Epps or Avante, will get a pick off the pressure of Grave Digger. So that's what I got it. 24-23, close game. We come from Vegas feeling like we hit the jackpot because the arrow's pointing up. And the only way this arrow's pointing up for me, even with the win, is if we utilize the run game. If we win, but we don't run the ball, I'm still going to be feeling somewhat just weird. I don't understand it. You know what I mean?
That's why I don't think, in my opinion, I see you Raider fans in the comment section. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Y'all got one of the worst interior offensive lines in the league, and you're playing one of the best interior defensive lines. Go ahead and drop back and try to throw. I think they're going to try to run at us. I really do. I think that if I was them, that's what I would do is look, the Eagles are giving up 6 yards to run. Stop us. We're just going to run right at you. We got a good running back. We're going to run at you. I hope they try to drop back and pass, Mike, because I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Is if you can get them to fall back and try to get completions over 20 yards, with as bad as that interior offensive line is, you got a shot with a guy like Hargraves, who's an absolute stud this year.
Yeah, I agree. With that being said, we're pushing it to the limit. It's 3:41. The game starts at 4:05. Get your popcorn ready. Until next time. Y'all know what time it is. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you are new. And definitely search up all the other content creators. Philly Fresh, Gate City Sports Channel, and the Philly Talk Podcast. We're going to be talking about this beautiful W all week long. Or, there's no other or. We're going to be talking about this W. Until next time, we out.
Yo, that.